So we'll be talking about Coltie Graduate Launchpad. This is first session in a series of presentations which we'll be making over the next few months. I would like to welcome both Bruce and Amy for joining as a panelist on this session. I am Anuj Sharma. I'm CEO of Coltie, which is an organization which creates a social network to help students join and go through their journey in grad school in a stress-free manner. And I'm also a professor at Iowa State University. I would let Bruce go next for the introduction. Bruce, do you want to?
Sure. Greetings, everyone. I'm Bruce Lindvall. I retired a couple years ago out of the position of Assistant Dean for Graduate Studies in the Engineering School at Northwestern University. I've been working with students the last 2 years in retirement, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So I'm glad I can be part of this.
Amy, do you want to go next?
Hi, my name is Amy Carver. I've worked in graduate admissions for 20 years in a couple different institutions and in various programs. I'm currently with the College of Engineering at Iowa State.
Awesome. Moving forward, as I mentioned, this is one of the 4 workshops we are organizing in this seminar series, and an objective of this specific one is to figure out whether the grad school is right for you or not. The others which are coming next in the line are navigating your options. So we'll be having a panel of faculty from different countries and talking about the admission processes in those programs. And in November, we'll have a faculty panel from US universities, and in that one, we will try to bring in panelists who are specifically in the areas mentioned in the survey which you filled out. So we might have a breadth of people ranging from chemistry, sciences, humanities, engineering, etc. And finally, in January, when you are about to make a decision about which grad school you would like to join, we will bring in a panel of grad students to answer any questions you might have. So with this, I'll start. The first part of the talk would be done by Bruce. So I'll go ahead and give the stage to Bruce.
Again, thank you very much, and thanks to students for joining us today. I have 3 slides, and then I'll be available in the question and answer session at the end. Why consider graduate school? I always start out presentations by asking students, are you looking for a job or a career? Obviously, a career is more long-term than finishing a bachelor's degree and accepting a first job. As you look down the road and you consider what you want to do, one of the questions you need to ask, will I need a graduate degree to do what I want to in a career? Graduate degrees should include higher level positions, greater salaries, and hopefully a more rewarding work in life as you move through your life and your career. One of the big questions that always comes up, if any of you are in school now, do you go to graduate school right away, or do you take some time off and work for a while and then consider going back to school? My experience at Northwestern has always been it's very difficult for a student to go out and work and then return later. So hopefully all of you are at a position where maybe this is the time to go to school. Factors to consider. Certainly some students want to consider just a master's and then maybe a PhD. Others of you may know that you definitely want to go into a PhD program. If so, what field of study? Sometimes students go from one major at the undergraduate level to a different major in graduate school. And within any given field, what do you want to specialize in? There are questions about how do I pay for graduate school, finding the right fit. There's a panel coming up in January. One of the nice things typically with PhD students is you may be given an opportunity to go to campus at the expense of the university, visit, get to know people. You can also contact students, alumni, and learn more. And I would also say that PhD study for me is very different than master's study. It's obviously longer, but at the same time, you're going to be doing much more research in a PhD program, and making a great match with a faculty member is going to be important. And there's always the question, where do I go to graduate school? And if you have multiple offers, then you're going to have to decide which is best for you. Next slide, please. A lot of times students start with rankings, and then they look at programs that they think are good fits for their academic background and look for matches with faculty in the research they're doing. I always encourage students to go to university websites. You need to drill down in the website for the program. Certainly there are general websites for an academic school or for the graduate school, but you really need to look at faculty and research, and hopefully you're going to find that included in the website for the program, the department, whatever it might be. I encourage students to develop a list. I think we'd all agree after last year, which was extremely challenging, it makes sense to keep the list longer than what you might have done a few years ago, because you just don't know who's going to admit you, who has funding. I had a colleague at the University of Pennsylvania share with me, she had a student last year that applied to 17 programs that didn't get into any programs. And I've dealt with students who, struggled last year, and they're back in the admissions process this year. On websites, you can learn about deadlines, application fees, requirements. And as I just said, there were great challenges this past year, and I don't think you can ignore that. It's not a light switch that's going to change overnight when we flip the switch. So I think there will be challenges again this year. My last slide, please. Sometimes students say, well, I don't need to go to school. I can do all this on my own. Certainly you can learn on your own. There's a lot available online that you can do and build up your background. But if you're going to work for someone else, there's usually an human resources department that will have minimum requirements. Sometimes it will say a master's or PhD preferred, minimum of bachelor's, whatever. So it's important to know that credentials can be really important. You're going to have a mentor if you're doing a PhD, and they'll open up a lot of doors. They'll provide you with a lot of network opportunities, and chances are you'll go to conferences, you'll present, and you'll be recognized for the research you're doing, especially as a PhD student. Some jobs may require only a bachelor's degree, and it may be an entry-level position. I know one of the concerns I already had with excellent students is how long are you going to be happy in an entry-level position without getting an advanced degree to move up within the company that you're working for. There's no question that more complex work will require more knowledge and research that you attain with graduate degrees. So I spend a lot of time not only educating, but encouraging students to go to graduate school, especially before you begin a career. Or if you're out there working now, it's never too late to go back to school, and the longer you put it off, I can guarantee you it becomes more and more difficult. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Bruce. We'll hold on to the questions till the end of the presentation. So we'll keep on going on with the presentation, and then we'll have a discussion towards the end about specific questions. So again, thank you for joining. One of the things which I want to emphasize that why the fit matters. Essentially, throughout my journey from master's to PhD, when I started my personal journey through grad school, I just looked at rankings and applied to multiple schools. I had no clue where I was going, and I showed up in Texas A&M University, and I feel that I was just lucky to find right people at right time who mentored me quite a bit. But definitely, I have heard stories other way as well, that where student came to any other country, not just US, but went to the grad school to find out that they were not a right fit with a professor. And what I mean by right fit is there are multiple aspects. It can be that, hey, I would really like to have a professor which is hands-on while solving a problem, versus professor who might give more autonomy for research. I might like a professor who is very strict with the deadlines compared to professors who have a little bit more leeway on when things have to be submitted. And it can also be something as small as that I would like to have my professor have a lot of connections in the field where I want to get a job, versus I would really want to do really a specific core topic, very niche topic, and I want to become expert on that. So all these questions cannot be found on university ranking pages, and it is very difficult, and you have to go out and try to find this information. And it is very important. There are a lot of stats out there. One of the stat is that around 50% of people who start PhD don't complete. This is not a stat which we are proud of, but this is definitely something which I feel is related with this right fit thing. And the percentage is different. Probably it is for sciences and humanities, it is a little bit, completion rate is even a little bit lower than 50, and I think for engineering it's around 56%. But again, that this just goes in terms of emphasizing why finding not just the right school but the right lab you will be working with is very, very, very important. And there are other countries which also show a drop in PhD rates when it comes to it. Another and these are not the numbers which I generated. These are published papers which provide information about mental health score. So in talking about graduate student anxiety and graduate student depression, there have been studies conducted which said that almost 40% of the people who were part of a graduate program reported to have medically diagnosed depression and anxiety. And it's not a small thing, these numbers, because if the same survey, if it was done on a general population, it was only 6%. So this is not to scare you away from grad school, but it is to make sure that you understand it is a tough path. It is a rewarding path, but it is very important that you are not just going blindly into a school and going to a lab and hoping everything figures out on its own. It is important to do this pre-work where you reach out to professors. And I know for a lot of students, getting an assistantship is important. But when you are choosing the school, assistantship should not be the only thing which is important, because you would not want to have 2 or 3 years of your life wasted if you end up with a professor you are not a right fit with. And it can significantly change the course of your life as well. uh, the the thing which and going back to the research and asking about what is causing this stress, and this was another survey done in at a university identifying these factors, and a very small amount of factors were the macroscopic factors, which means that how is the university ranked, and how are facilities in the university's gym and things like that. Uh, a majority of the factors were within one contact away, basically your advisor, whether the advisor and your lab mates, how is the culture in that lab, does it fit your behavior, how you succeed, talking about what kind of mentorship the advisor is providing, again, how many times does he meet with his grad students, are there resources in the college which helps you get to find a career after the grad school. One of the things to make sure you realize is grad school is not the end goal. Grad school is a pathway to a career which you want to achieve, and you need to find the right road which leads to a path of success. So I hope this sheds some light that when you are choosing the grad school, what are the things you need to take care of. And in terms of causes of stresses, the other cause is obviously whether you're able to afford the education, whether you are able to sustain yourself in terms of getting house and food, etc. So when you're selecting a school, you should also think about not just whether I'll be able to get the assistantship or not, but also what is the cost of living at that place, and is the ratio of cost of living versus your admission and tuition cost and cost of renting, would how stressful would that be? And it is easy to find out those questions if you're considering some universities calling a grad student of that specific university and just talking to them. And you might not just want to talk to one person, you might want to talk to 3 or 4 people so that you get an average view. You don't want to just find the person who hates that universities and talk to them. You might want to find a person, a few folks, so that you get a good idea what's going on. So just how Coltie app can help you. So these factors which I talked about previously, when I was going through my journey, there was no app like Coltie. What I had to do was the hard way. I found out my universities created an Excel sheet which said that, hey, this university is what I'm considering, went through the website of professors at each of those universities in my area, went through them, and then went to find out which papers they have published to get an idea which area they work on. Because a lot of time, it's not necessary for every faculty, but a lot of times faculties don't update their web pages. So you might find the information which might be a little bit old. So that is the reason why why I decided to build this app to save time for the students to finding these matches. So even if we can get you to the first step, that who are the professors, not just the universities, which you might be interested in, that's saving you hundreds of hours. So just to show you, all of you might have received a message already that you can log into an account in Coltie. You have to download the app. But I wanted to go through some big things which you can do once you create your account and how it is helpful. So the first thing you will see is you can, once you create the account, you go to the network page, and based on the keywords you have entered, we have around 100,000 faculty in our database, which are worldwide, and you would see which faculty are similar to the keywords you have mentioned. So that solves the first issue of finding not just the universities, but also the faculty who might be in the area in which you are working. When you click on a specific faculty's profile, what you would see is not just, you can find out what their education background is, what their keywords are, and you can also find out a list of publication. And this is where I think is very important. Once you click the list of publications, what you should look for are a couple of things. One is, how many publications do they have in last year? What it shows you is how active that research group is. and how many publications do they have in the area which you are specifically interested in. The keyword match would get you close by, but then you want to go through these list of publication yourself and see. This list also would give you an idea if you want to reach out to that faculty. Do you want to ask that how your research is tied to a specific publication they might have done? And right now we receive around 10 to 15 emails per week about people interested in my group. If I want to open a specific email, it would be really good if a person has taken time and effort to go through my publication list, look at the publications, and see that how his experience or her experience is tied to some of the publications which I have recently made. So that is another place where you can find this useful. The other thing you can also look at is this research group interdisciplinary? So when you click at these papers, are the co-authors other professors who are working in a very different area, or is this specific group very niche and focused in a specific area? So that is another thing which you can find easily. The other important thing to see is there are some faculty who might be posting their own reels as well. So when I say we have a database of faculty, this is the database which we curated from public websites. But there are faculties who have claimed their accounts and they have put on reels, etc., to give you more idea about that group. So if they do have reels, you can take a look at what kind of work do they do. Finally, the other thing which is recommended is that you introduce yourself as well. So when you also have a chance to make a reel about who you are and what you want to do. The reason for doing that is that when you as I said, I get 30 to 40 messages in a couple of weeks that people are interested in my group, but the only thing which I see is a CV. But if I am able to see a small reel on who you are and what you are interested in, it just gives me a better framework on whether I would like to bring you in or not. This is the place, if you go to the matches, you will see it's not just the matches of faculty, which you will see based on your keywords, but you also see students and people in other roles. So this will also give you an idea that if you want to reach out to someone and ask them about a specific university, you can do that through the app, or you can try to find them via LinkedIn. And then you can have a conversation using the chatbot. We are working with certain universities where even the departments and the colleges are creating their profiles in here. So there is also very experienced staff who might be able to help you with some of the questions. The other thing which we also do is we send out opportunities. So if our team sees an opportunity where assistantship is available, we notify the people who have registered that they are searching for PhD right now, and we base it on the keyword as well as your role. So so far this year, we have posted around over 100 opportunities, which are from internationally from different places. But that's another way to find out that, hey, it's not just you looking for opportunities. It is a lot of people basically crowdsourcing your search to find out where you might also be able to get assistantship. The other thing is it's not just about just clicking a button and sending a connect request to faculty. The registered users may or may not accept your connect request. It is about identifying the people you want to connect to and then trying to build that connection over a period of time. Some of the things which people find useful is emailing the faculty. So it has to be a relevant email. It cannot be a spam email. That's one biggest no-no for me as well. Is if someone is sending me an email and calling me that I'm a structural engineering professor instead of transportation engineering professor, I would never open up that email, because that person who requires my attention has not worked hard to know what kind of work I do. The other thing is, you can, once you find the faculty you are interested in, definitely start following them on LinkedIn. It is a human bias, I would say, that, but if we have seen a person multiple times interested in our program, when I'm reviewing the application, even if I'm not responding back to that person, when I'm reviewing the application, I have that memory saying that, hey, this person was really interested in my group, and I might go back and look at the information you might have sent me. One other thing when you are reaching out to faculty, and they may or may not do it, is ask for their current students, so that you don't, if you want to know about their lab, what kind of work do they do, it is also a good idea to talk to their students and lab students. And one of the questions which I get, hey, how do I find that? And it is easy. Again, the thing which I was talking about, the papers, when you look at the authors, the co-authors on those papers, most of the recent publications would have some repeat authors, and most likely these are the grad student of that faculty, and you can search them on LinkedIn. These people might also be already showing up in your network in Coltie as well. And then one thing to do is avail all the free services. I'm not saying that the Coltie sessions which we are having like today is the only session out there, but if you find other opportunities, I know Purdue does it, Iowa State does it, Princeton does it, where they are talking about their school. So if you're specifically interested in the faculty in that school, you might want to attend that sessions. Don't wait till the last minute to send out this email. Start it early, like, so that a person doesn't feel that, hey, this person is right now sending 1,000 emails and I just happen to be one of those thousands. So the ideal thing is to start it towards the end or beginning of your third year or junior year. But if you haven't done so, like, it's never too late to start. I'll hand it over to Amy, and then Amy, please go ahead and we can continue with the questions after the session.
Certainly, thank you, and welcome everyone. So I want to talk a little bit about the process on admissions and some differences that you'll see. So for the most part, graduate staff do not determine admissions criteria and are not involved in admissions decisions. Your chances of being admitted can only be determined after the faculty on the graduate admissions committee reviews your complete application package. Admission is very competitive. The committees are looking for leadership, teamwork, communication skills, problem-solving skills, initiative and strong work ethic, analytical and quantitative skills, flexibility and adaptability, technical skills, and interpersonal skills that show you will be a good fit for the program to which you are applying. It has been my experience that staff may be involved with the committee for professional or coursework only programs over the research-based programs. If your program does cohort-based admissions and you rotate through labs before identifying which research group you will join, the admissions decisions are most likely committee-based. If your program admits directly to a research lab, a committee will review your application to make sure it is reflective of other successful students, but then the admissions decision will be up to a particular faculty member. Most PhD students are fully funded, but if you are applying to a master's program, there are varying degrees of funding dependent on the program. Therefore, PhD admissions decisions can take longer than master's admissions decisions, since the PhD admission is often tied to the availability of funding. Some institutions will send the admissions decision and funding information together, and some will notify you of your admission and follow up within any funding decisions. I'll discuss this a little bit more later. Most of what I have experience with and have described here is a decentralized admissions model, where individual programs recommend you for admission to either the graduate school or the Office of Admissions. Typically, programs have such high standards that if you are recommended for admission, you will be admitted by the university. I am often asked if a student should reach out to a faculty member, and Anuj touched on this as well, before applying. And my advice is to identify those 2 to 3 faculty members with whom you have a match in research area. You can list the faculty in your application, as you may be asked for specific faculty you would like to work with, or you can list them within your statement of purpose. Then, once you have submitted your application, you can reach out to those faculty members with an individualized communication, letting them know you have applied to the program and why you are interested in working with them for your graduate studies. Faculty are not the best at responding to messages, especially if you flat out ask if they have funding. Remember that your communications purpose should be to advertise yourself rather than to seek a response. Next slide, please. Most doctoral students and many of master students are appointed to graduate assistantships or GAs. Departments, graduate programs, research institutes, and other university units make these teaching, research, and administrative appointments. Graduate assistantships are an integral part of the academic ecosystem. They provide valuable opportunities for graduate students to gain experience, financial support, and mentorship while contributing to research, teaching, or administrative tasks within their respective departments. Assistantships typically come with a stipend, tuition remission, and health insurance benefits. The specific terms and conditions may vary depending on the program, funding availability, and the nature of the assistantship. Graduate students interested in assistantships should directly inquire with their respective graduate program coordinators or explore available opportunities through the university's job portal. All of the programs I have worked for at Iowa State have made their assistantship decisions at the time of admission. They may follow up later with supplemental funding that they may have available. Iowa State is a member of the Council of Graduate Schools, or CGS, along with many other institutions. This group of universities has agreed that you have until April 15th to accept any offer of admission with financial support. Any deadline before that would violate this agreement. If you have received multiple offers of admission with financial support and know that you will not be accepting one, let that institution know so they can provide that opportunity to another student. The April 15th deadline is for fall admissions with financial support and does not apply to offers of admission without funding. Fellowships are typically financial awards granted to graduate students by organizations outside of the university. These fellowships are usually awarded on a competitive basis and are often based on academic merit, research potential, or other criteria specific to the goals of the external funding organization. Some commonly awarded external fellowships include the NSF GRFP, Fulbright, NIS, and more. If you receive an offer of admission without funding, that is most likely because there is no funding available. Most coursework-only programs do not provide funding or may offer a small scholarship to help defray some cost. You can pursue employment, fellowships, and other funding opportunities, but I encourage you to be strategic in finding these opportunities. Next slide. So Bruce mentioned starting out with rankings, and Anuj kind of steered you away from those and finding that faculty fit. I lean more along the same lines with Anuj because I don't feel those rankings fully capture the graduate student life. For example, I'm at a graduate fair this weekend where a university that is just slightly higher ranked than Iowa State told a prospective student that they do not fully cover a GA's health insurance. But at Iowa State, your health insurance would be fully covered by your assistantship. So it's really important to do your research, either talking to other students or others on campus. I would start by looking for a faculty mentor who can mentor me in the research that I would like to do during my studies and what institution they are at. And if there are also a couple more faculty at that institution who are doing similar enough research that they could also serve as a mentor in case that first faculty member loses funding or changes universities. Also, at the institution, look at the co-curricular resources at the university. For example, Iowa State has a Center for Communication Excellence that employs peer mentors along with their professional staff to assist with written and verbal communication. Does the university have a career center available to graduate students? Our graduate students have access to either the career center in the academic college or at the graduate college. What clubs and organizations are available to you? Anuj talked about how students often struggle with mental health, and having those outside organizations and it can help you deal with those stresses. And also, does the university have those resources that will support your health and wellness? Aside from what to ask, I also think who to ask is as important. And I recommend that students start with the program contacts, which you should be able to find on the website. This might be another factor to consider when deciding where to go to graduate school. When I worked in a department, new students often told me they chose Iowa State because I responded to their emails. They were confident that if I assisted them as prospective students, I would surely answer their questions as a current student. As I stated earlier, in a decentralized admission model, you are being recommended for admission by a faculty member or program, while the official offer of admission will come from the graduate school or office of admissions. Likewise, for funding, those decisions are typically made by the faculty or program. Once you have submitted your application, to help with your nerves, it is good to ask for a rough estimate of how long it will take to hear back regarding a decision. Applying to graduate school is a job, but the worst part is waiting to hear back. I have worked for programs that review applications as soon as they are complete and will issue a decision immediately, and I have worked for programs that wait to review any of the applications until after their posted deadline. So again, finding out your program's timeline is very important. And I believe we're back with the news now.
Thank you, Amy. So, we talked a lot about the admission processes and things like that. I wanted to give you just an overview of what we are going to cover next in the Launchpad series, which will be continuing. The next one specifically talks about when we are deciding among the countries, we'll have panelists from different countries, US, Europe, Asia systems, and they would be able to answer the questions about how to choose internationally as well. What are the different funding models there? What is the application requirements, etc. Then after that, in November, we'll be talking about a faculty panel. Here we are trying to bring in experts from different fields, as I mentioned. How we'll decide the experts from different fields is depending on the people who have registered for the session and which fields they are from. Usually in this session, what we do is that we ask the faculty expert to kind of give criteria what they use for selection purposes. So you can get an idea what is the thought process in making the selection and how does their specific system work. And finally, towards the end in January of this seminar series, we'll have a bunch of students who have already joined master's and PhD programs to talk about how did they decide after they got the admit letters for multiple programs, how did they decide which program to choose from. So these would be the upcoming sessions. It would be great if you folks can join. I think now I'll open up the floor for question and answers. We are going to be here for as long as the question and answers last. So please feel free to open up your mics and cameras and ask us specific questions about you and about the graduate program. We won't be we'll try to answer specifics about like a specialization, but right now this panel only has a lot of experience in engineering and sciences. So if there is a specific question about humanities, we might try to answer it, but that would be addressed in the future sessions. So any questions? I know and we are just few of us. If you want to turn on your cameras for discussions, it would be okay as well. So any questions we have, Fatima or Aaron?
I want to ask about so I've done one master's, and I did that master's with not a lot of thought. I just did it for the sake of doing it. And now I want to get back to education, but I don't really know what field I want to do a master's in. Like, I want to get back to education, but I don't know the field.
Bruce or Amy, do you want to take a first shot? I can join in later on.
Well, I can start out here. I think the real key is what is it you want to do. In other words, you look at your career and say, where do I want to be down the road? And then you need to look at what education is going to give you a background to do that. Normally don't like to talk about myself, but I did an undergraduate degree in math. I did a master's degree in counseling, and my PhD is in higher ed administration. So as I went through my career, I had different positions in higher ed that I knew to get from where I was to where I wanted to be, what was going to be important. So, sometimes students change. I'm an example. I did not want to go on for graduate study in mathematics. I worked with students. I wanted a counseling degree, and then I looked down the road and said, if I want to move up in higher ed in the field that I want to be in, it's going to take a PhD in educational administration. So I think you've got to focus on where you want to be and what's going to get you in between that. And you may change fields. You may do something that's quite different, but at the same time, you have to keep in mind that people, if you've got a degree in history and you want to do a PhD in biomedical engineering, you likely don't have the background to make that type of change. So, sometimes you may even have to take some coursework to help close the gap. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't have the clarity yet. I don't know where I want to go yet.
So I think one thing, and it has been a great advice. I read it in some book. I think it is about Ikigai. Three things you have to think about: you should be able to make money, you should be able to enjoy what you're doing, and you should have some background expertise in that area. It can come from formal education or informal education. And how to decide whether you will be able to make money or not in that specific area, you can go to LinkedIn and try to find out people, like what is your, like if you have 3 dream jobs, for example, or 3 things you want to be, finding out what are those people, what did they do in terms of degree, and there can be several paths to that degree. So that would give you an idea. You can go to Glassdoor and try to find out what are the typical pays are for that specific role currently. You should also look at one thing which people forget to look at is that there might be few people who are earning a lot, but then rest of the people in that area don't make that much money. So if I don't want to name a specific fields, but there are fields where the distribution is very skewed. A few people, worst case scenario, you can think of NBA players. Few people are making a lot of money, and then a lot of good basketball players are not making that much money. The third thing you want to think about as well is what is the current status of demand in that specific area. So there was a lot of hype about certain topics, and those hype cycles keep coming and going in universities as well. It doesn't mean that you see a fancy topic that university is offering a master's or PhD in that specific topic that you should dive into it because it's just there in the news. You should read the news and try to find out if the students who graduated last year, how many of them found a job. Or you can find out, go to talk to them and find out how many of them got a job. Because again, grad studies is a pathway to success. If it is leading nowhere, then you are kind of lost. So I hope.
Yeah. So I have a question for Bruce. Sorry, Amy, before Amy, does Amy want to? Okay. I have a question for Bruce. So when you were changing your path, you changed your path multiple times, sounds like. So how long did it take you to decide? Like, did you do masters right out of bachelor's and then right out of masters you did your PhD, or did you have some gaps in between?
I started out as a high school math teacher, and during those 3 years I was a high school math teacher, I did a master's degree part-time in counseling. And I was offered a position back at Purdue where I had done work in the Office of Admissions. So I started out in admissions. I feel very strongly about education and more education. And that led me to different positions. And then when I was in the School of Veterinary Medicine, they allowed me to work on my PhD. And I had a desire at that time to be a director of admissions. And some of the people that were being selected had a PhD. And then, later on, I realized that not only was it admissions, but I also enjoyed student services, recruiting students. Amy and I have some similar backgrounds because I was able to recruit students, oversee admissions, and then I worked with about 1,700 graduate students and made sure that they were in a good environment and were doing things they needed to do. So I just kind of followed, my path, what I wanted to do, and then decided what education was going to get me along that path. I didn't have a plan when I was 18 years old and said, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. I was just open, to what I really enjoyed and kept making some adjustments. I mean, I've always been in education. I just changed a little bit, but my last position was similar to what I did in the veterinary school, where I basically recruited students all the way through to get them graduated. And I enjoyed that immensely.
Okay. But if I may ask, why should one go for grad school, or why should one be a faculty? Why should one be a faculty? What is the advantage of being a faculty?
Okay. I think it is.
Because they get to do whatever they want to do.
Okay.
So I'll answer it based on my experience. I have a few experiences. So when I did my undergraduate, I had a job offer, and I come from India. So I did my bachelor's in civil engineering, got a job offer in a company which is doing software development. So I worked with that company for almost a year. And one of the things which I realized working in that company is that I enjoyed my core degree more and application of computer science in there. So I decided to go for my master's then. The second thing which I realized was that I was lagging a little bit behind from people who did a computer science degree. So when I started, they gave me a 6-month training. So I was not feeling that I was an expert in that area when I joined it. So there was that feeling as well. So I moved on. Then when I was doing my master's, I had an option between joining a private company versus a PhD. And one of my advisors told me that, hey, if you invest, say, 4 more years, what would your salary going to be? What is your salary going to be compared to what your salary is if you join a consulting firm and work there for 4 years? So that was the return on this investment decision that was important. But what was also important was that I really enjoyed research. I really enjoyed a little bit of flexible structure, where it is not that, hey, the project deadline is this and you have to do, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, get it done at this point. I had a little bit more flexibility, that the project deadlines were usually longer, and I can do some experiments which no one has done in the past. So the question became is, do I like to do well-defined work and reuse those templates again and again, or I always get kind of bored by those templates, and I try to jump into new areas all the time. And again, that's a personal fit. Like my wife loves 9 to 5, and she wants to come back home and not worry about the work because she has already done what she's supposed to do. Whereas in my life right now, it is that there's, like, when I'm going for a vacation, there is no vacation essentially. There is a proposal deadline, there's something. But every time I had a choice, whether I want to go in that area or I want to stick to my field, and I enjoy the freedom and freedom to choose what I want to do, essentially, and guide in that regards. I enjoy the interaction with students. I actually enjoying playing sports a lot as well. So you are surrounded by all these facilities that I was saying that you can do it. Whereas my friends who are in very high positions in and earning a lot more than I am, for sure, but they don't have time to enjoy this. They don't. The other thing is, as a faculty, I get to travel to these conferences. And when I'm traveling to these conferences, I am presenting about my topic. I'm having a lot of good discussions. I joined a company for a few months, and they said that you can go to any conference you want, but you have to come back and report how did that conference help the company financially. So in there, when I'm going to a conference, I have to make network. I need to pitch the company a lot so that I think that idea about like it is about whether you want to work for a nonprofit or for-profit company comes into play. Is that the company business is driven by finances, or is it driven by more of a purpose? And now when I go to conferences, I don't have to think about, hey, this is the guy who might give me a project, so I should to go and talk to him. I go and talk to them because, hey, this is the guy I can collaborate with, or this is very interesting I'm seeing. So it's a lot on you and what you enjoy, and you will find out over a period of time. And it's never too late. Maybe you join a job and you don't like it, and you can change it. Like, it's never too late. I have seen people
Never
doing,
too late.
yeah, 46.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I really enjoy all the aspects of what you just mentioned. Like I enjoy all those things, getting the freedom, the autonomy, and all that. But I have lost interest in the field of study. So that's my problem. I enjoy all the pros of academia, but I have lost interest in the field itself. So I need to kind of regenerate interest.
Yeah. The other thing is, Vihang, you're talking to a professor and who enjoys this field. Maybe you talk to a professor
Yeah.
who has left the field as well. You will say the negative side of it.
Yeah. That's
So,
actually a good point. Yeah.
yeah. So there are people who do struggle. Like what I feel, and I tell it to a lot of people, when you're doing PhD, it's a very good window to academia. You should also think whether you're enjoying PhD or not. It is a lot more chaotic. There are a lot different kind of struggle, and you're not get paid enough. So if you if you enjoy your PhD, you probably would enjoy academia. If you're feeling that, oh, this is too, the money is not that much, or I want to have my work-life balance back, things like that, you should consider. But anyways,
No, I
I
think I'm struggling only with field of study. Struggling only with field of study.
and that is possible to change as well in today's day and age. You can slowly move towards a different field if you know which field you are interested in, but make sure that you do a very in-depth study, that you really enjoy it or not. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it's like, if you're seeing something fresh and something hot, you always are like, basically right now the buzzword is big data analytics and AI. But do you really enjoy it, or is it because it is so much in fashion that you are thinking you like it? So those are the things you might want to consider. But let's talk to Fatima and Aaron as well. I know Fatima
Yeah,
said
sure.
doesn't have a question, but Aaron, do you have any specific questions for the panel? I probably not. Vihang, if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask.
No, I just want some direction with respect to how to find my field of interest.
I don't.
Because I did computing and I've lost interest. So, and I want to do a PhD, but I don't know, but I don't have any interests. So like I like I like the academic life. I like that life, but I don't have any interest in any particular field. So that makes me not a right fit for academia right now, I guess.
I feel that computing is very applicable to other fields. The associate dean that I work for refers to Anuj as a computer science in civil engineering all the time. So the computing, you definitely have the background, or you've moved beyond what would be required. So my degrees are in business, and I'm like Bruce wanting to move up, so I'm transitioning to higher ed. Well, like the math requirements for business are above what the humanities require, so it's an easier transition. Your computing math requirements are above what you're going to need, or at or above what you're going to need in another field. So you
Right.
probably won't have to make up those things. It is, yeah, finding what you're passionate about. Bruce and I really like working with students and prospective students, and so we ended up in a good spot. But
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also sometimes, Vihang, I feel, this candy is also, we underestimate the power of peers. So like, I have been in places where I hated my job, not because I hated the area of study, but I didn't enjoy working with my peers at that place.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I have been
Yeah.
in places where the peers are good. So like, never underestimate that in any portion of the life. Is because as humans, we are social animals. So if when we go there and we get appreciated, we like it and we enjoy that area. And then there can be cases where, so I would like you to dig deep and find out what specifically you don't like about your current field, what things you like about your current fields, and then try to see if there is an area which you have been passionate, not just passionate about, the area where you can sell your skills. So like, if you as I said, I was a software engineer for some time, and then I moved back to civil engineering, but now I do so much computer and like things, but I can also easily sell to civil engineers that, hey, I know your area as well, so I can do computer science. If I was purely doing maths in computer science, I might have hated it, because I don't consider myself as a mathematician who likes coming up with new equations. I consider myself as an engineer, where if I am given a tool, I'll try to solve a problem, and I enjoy it. And those things started showing up early in the life as well. Is for me, it was solving multiple problems gave me much more excitement compared to trying to focus on one problem and spending 2 years. And there, I know people who like to say that this is a world challenge and I would like to solve this one problem theoretically, and they might be a better fit in maths and things like that. So
Yeah. Peers make sense because I think I did not hate the subject as much when I started out. But over the years, I guess I did not find the right people and I've started
yeah,
hating it. So
yeah,
I just need better people to work with, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
um, any other questions? I know I saw Nafisat just join in. Um, Hopefully you are not an hour late, but we'll be sending out the recording as well to people who signed up, so you will be able to catch up on what we talked about. But any other questions, folks, if you have it?
Also, you would recommend to heavily collaborate with another person above a research? Because, I mean, I've noticed that most people do kind of, have another person on board um, to do all that. Because you said it's important to, get along with your peers when it comes to pursuing the PhD.
For sure. You are rarely working alone, and like in this day and age, you would be working with not just, like, my area is very interdisciplinary. So my students not only work within my lab, they work with people who are working in other labs, because we are collaborating. And this is true even if you are like working for a company, like, you are always working with other people. So and again, it is you have to think about yourself as well. What is what is causing issues? Are they, and sometimes it is other people, and sometimes it's within you, where you, if you change yourself a little bit, you do a much better job. The other thing you want to see is, again, going back to finding the right lab. Uh, Always talk to the students in that lab, and you get a very good idea about how passionate those students are. How are they excited about finishing up? Are they struggling quite a bit? Like, even if the lab is very tough and the students are enjoying it, you will hear it in their voices. And like, I would avoid talking to just one person who hates the lab, but talk to 3 people, and you get a pretty good idea of what the lab is like. And like, beyond talking to just the professor themselves, because professors would always sell their lab as the best lab. Yeah. But no lab is better than mine, though. But anyways, any other thoughts, folks? Other, I don't know, Nafisa, do you have any specific questions, or we can wrap up the sessions and let Bruce and Amy do important things they have to do? I think one thing I can share is at least my email. And if once you open up the Coltie app is free for any student, and that is by design. So we don't want to charge any student with anything for getting these information. So please make your account there, and I'll be one of your first contacts when you make the account. But here is my email as well. If you want to reach out via email, I'll be happy to help. One thing is that I would be happy to help about all the questions you have about finding the grad school. I won't be able to answer questions whether I have assistantship right now or not, just because I don't know. Those decisions I make around the time frame of January, where a lot of projects which I have submitted, I know whether I'm going to get them or not. So right now, it's not the right time for me to start thinking, to start promising assistantships. But any other questions you might have, please feel free to reach out to me. All right. Thank you, Bruce and Amy, for your time. It has been amazing to have you as a panelist, and we'll probably cross paths. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.